right, so we got Rayne Johnson on today. So I'll go ahead and kick things off. I know. So I read that you were a railroad employee for 10 years while doing music on the side.
Yeah,
What
man.
what was that like? Like, what was your job with the railroad, and how was that like balancing music and stuff
So
like
yeah,
that?
I mean, I started working on the railroad when I was pretty young. I was playing music like in church and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then I was in a Christian rock band for a little while, and it really wasn't a big deal because we weren't playing that much crazy. But as time
Hmm.
progressed, it just kind of my best answer way to answer that is it kind of like, it wasn't like I was doing music a ton and then like jumped into a full-time job. So I always had the
Yeah.
full-time job, and then as time progressed, music just became more and more busy. So I was kind of
Hmm.
like used to bouncing it, like every
Yeah.
year, we get a little bit busier, then another, next year we get a little bit more busier. I mean,
Hmm.
it is, it was one of those things where it's like, you know, I just kind of got used to it. That's my best answer. You know what I mean? I just kind
Yeah.
of, it was like the way, because even my friends and family would be like, how do you do this? And I was on third shift for a long, long time. So I would work third shift, and I was able to be off on the weekends. So a lot of the
Hmm.
times, for gigs and stuff like that, I would just plus, playing in like I was in a fairly busy kind of cover band. We had our own original music as well, but all those shows were, on the weekends usually, and those were like nighttime too. So it was like
Yeah.
those bar sets from, like
Man.
10 to 2 or something like that. So I feel like the third shift thing kind of helped because I mean, I was just kind of used to being up like that and everything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it never was like, I'm sure that my body probably didn't appreciate it, but
Yeah. What was your job with the railroad? What did you do?
So I worked on locomotives, strictly locomotives. They like
Hmm.
the best way I can explain it. You know how like when you're flying and you're the flight comes in, and then people are getting off the flight, and then as soon as
Yeah.
you're off, people are getting on. So all the inspections and stuff that take place on like airplanes and all that stuff. So when a train comes in, it'll do the same thing. When a crew is going to get on it right after that, it has to have all the inspections done. Anything that it used has to be replaced, fueling and oil and that kind of stuff. Then we also did just like routine maintenance and stuff like that. So
Okay.
that was kind of what it was like. Yeah.
Nice. So I know that you're based out of is it southwestern Ohio?
Yeah. So Cincinnati area.
Cincinnati area. Do
Yeah.
you
So
have
yeah, Southwest Ohio though.
are you having to go to Nashville like all the time now, or are you able to do a lot now from that area?
Yeah, I mean, I do not all, but I do most of my recording here pretty much locally. But there's meetings and stuff in Nashville that
Yeah.
have to be at and stuff like that. And if I do like a write with somebody from Nashville, it's starting to get back to like, I shouldn't say it's starting to get back. It's not as busy as the
Yeah.
writing sessions in person because people, when COVID came around, everybody switched over to doing this, and
Mhm.
so some people still do that and that's available, but the rights down there are still, going down there to write with people is still a thing and do that kind of stuff. It's kind of nice because I can, it's an hour different for me in Nashville.
Mhm.
So when I leave here, it's basically like, it's only like a 3.5, 4 hour drive.
Ah, that's good.
Now coming home, it's, add an
Yeah.
hour on there, but when I'm coming home, I don't have to like, it's not like, hey, I have to trying to get back for a meeting. So if I
Yeah.
have to go down there, shoot, I can leave in the morning, and get down there before lunchtime and do whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So I know that you mentioned that you were in like a cover band, and you've done a bunch of other stuff. Has there been like just like a place that you've played or something you've had to do where you're just like, this is like weird, like the weirdest
Oh
place you've
yeah.
ever had to like perform?
You mean weird as in like weird as in bad or weird as in good? Or I think you're
Like,
saying weird as in bad, right?
yeah, like weird as in bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Shoot, man. When I was playing, like the bar sets and cover band stuff. Shoot, there's so many of those I could probably tell. But I remember this one that it literally, it was like, I really think that it was like a glorified, like, I think it was a double wide trailer at one time. And they just like, and they turned it into a bar because when you walked in the door, it was like the bar was literally like 7 feet from the front door, and then it was this long straight bar in this like trailer kind of thing. And then on the far left
Wow.
end of the bar or the far left end of the room was a stage, they called it a stage, but I think it was like this much higher than the regular floor. You know what I mean?
That's insane.
But dude, I mean, it's fun though. Those kind of places sometimes, man, they have the coolest crowds. You meet the coolest people and stuff like that. So for me to say it was weird, it was weird. Just the initial like, what is this? You know, but it still turned out to be a great place to play. I think we went back and played there again. Actually, you know,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Has there been like a defining moment in your coming up in music where you're just like this is it, like I've made it, like this is what I'm gonna do for like the rest of my life?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's been several of those moments. I feel like probably the coolest moment for me was like when Front Seat was out for a little while. You know, it was doing really, really well. And Boston had it kind of started in Boston, and that's where like the kind of noise started up there. And then there was a Brad Paisley, Chris Lane, and Riley Green concert, and it was like an outdoor, big, huge amphitheater. So they were like the headliners of that, and they had a side stage thing there. So the radio station that was hosting the event, basically, they were like, "Hey, we have this really nice big side stage, and it's like, you know, an hour or two before the show. You know, would you want to come up and play?" And it was really kind of before I even had like a core like band. Like I had guys that I had, but I didn't have like we hadn't been playing a lot of shows. Let's put it that way, because it was really when I was just kind of sort of like coming up, and people were like, you know, what's this Front Seat song? And you know, so we're like, yeah, we'll do it. You know, so we go up there, have no idea what to expect. I'd never had a show that was really that kind of caliber thing. So I go up there, and you know, it's outside. It's like this big, it's a nice stage, everything. It's a big, nice, you know, big trees and stuff around, and it's all mulched and a kind of cool thing. And no idea, you know, who's going to come, you know, because there's other acts playing before us. Cause it's kind of like one of those things, just like entertain the people coming to the concert before the concert, you know?
Yep. I got you.
So there's some acoustic acts playing, you know, there's several people around, people are having a good time, having drinks and stuff like that. Well, they come to me and they're like, "Hey, do you want to do a meet and greet?" And I'm like, "Meet and greet?" You know what I mean? Like, yeah, sure. Like, so they have this meet and greet thing, man. And the line just like gets ginormous. And I'm like, how do these people even know who I am? You know what I mean? Yeah. So ends up they have to like stop the meet and greet thing because it was time to play. So I'm like, I'm already, you know, like bumfuzzled by that. It's like, what's happening? You know what I mean? I'm kind of like on one hand, like, yeah, man, you know, whatever, you know, like, yeah. And so another person be like, what's happening? So anyways, then we go up, we play. We're excited. We're having a great time. Well, we get to Front Seat, you know, and we had rehearsed the song, you know, tons playing, you know, acoustically and stuff. So it was kind of like the really first time that we've ever like played it like the album, you know. And I look over at my guitar player, the guy was playing acoustic on Front Seat, and I'm like, come on, follow me. So we go down and we sit on the front of the stage, and I'll skip back a little bit. When we started playing, it like packed. There was like tons of people that just like came in, you know.
That's so awesome.
So I'm already like, dude, this is awesome. Well, I sit down, man, and I have video of it somewhere, but I sit down on the front of the stage, like on one of the monitors there. My guitar player does too. The band's behind me with her intro, and I kind of talk about the song, tell them like, you guys are the start of this song, you know, like Boston is the town that really took a chance on me. But anyways, I go into the song, man, and they start singing every word, you know,
so cool.
And I'm like, so that was my first time having that moment. Like I literally remember like looking at the people that were right in front of me, and then like I'm a horrible crier and singer at the same time. I'm terrible at it. Like it just makes me the worst singer ever. So I'm like looking at these people, and then I just remember like looking over top of them and having to like focus on the trees, like don't cry. Like in my head, I'm saying like don't cry. You're gonna make it terrible. But like that was my moment of being like, wow, like people that aren't in my hometown like may know who I am, and they may know my music, you know. And it was like that was the moment that I was like, I mean, I love entertainment. I love like live. I love the studio part and all that stuff and putting out music, but I love playing live. It's just my favorite thing to do. And that moment was just like, holy cow, like this is really something, it's not just numbers on Spotify, numbers on YouTube and whatever, it's like, this is real. Like these people, they don't know me. I don't know them, but they know all the words to my song, So it was just,
cool.
it was a very, very cool moment, man.
Man,
I love
awesome.
telling that story. I love it, man.
Yeah. So I guess this kind of goes into my next question. When you recorded and released Front Seat, did you think it was going to do what it did? I mean, it went,
Absolutely not.
I think it was top 40 on the country charts.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's insane. Like, did you think that was what was going to happen?
Not at all, man. Like I was recording my first EP, and I knew like it was about, a ballad song, and like, dude, ballads, especially like as a new artist, ballads don't like, you don't really break on a ballad. So, I mean, typically, you know what I mean? That's not the formula, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, like, my manager has a decent relationship with a guy named David Corey, and he was in Boston at the time. And, he's like, man, I know this guy's been in radio for years. He's like, I want to play him some of your stuff and whatever. And he played him a few of my songs. I think he played him Laid Back. I know that was one of them. And I know Front Seat was one. And I think it was Lips Like Liquor, maybe.
Okay.
And, David's been around music so long. He's like, Front Seat, man. He's like, that's a freaking hit, man. And like Mark comes back to me, my manager, and he's like, hey man, he's like, he had some really good feedback on Front Seat. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know what I mean? That's like,
that's awesome.
But music's so subjective, and I could let you listen to it and you could be like, yeah, man, that's a good song, but I probably wouldn't listen to it or whatever. But so just luckily, man, David was like, I want to put this in rotation on the station. So we started doing some nighttime spins of it. And like I said, we had no idea. It was not going to be the single. You know what I mean? If you would have said like, what song's going to be the single at the time, and that was all going down, like that's why we asked David what was because we're like, hey, what do you think of these songs, and he's like, I like this one, man. I think that the people are gonna, and to his credit, like he was definitely right. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. So was music something that was just burned into you from like day one? Like, this is something I have to do? Or did you kind of find it later on down the road of, your career journey?
Yeah, no, I don't think it was burnt into me at all. Like my mom always sang. She was like a super powerful singer at church, and she was always, she was on the praise team. She was in the choir and that kind of stuff all the time. So as I grew up, I was in like choir, and things like that. And I do remember being like, I like to do. I want to try to do a solo. I want to try to get a part or something. And doing that. And then I never really like thought like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I didn't play any instruments at the time or anything like that. I loved music, and I remember, is now a friend of mine. He came to me and was like, hey man, we have this Christian rock band. You want to come and, sing lead for us? Like we have a little small studio set up at somebody's house and we're doing this stuff. So I'm like, sure. Fast forward to them saying, yeah, we'd love for you to do this. And then I'm like, wow, man, I could be a rock star. You know what I mean? This is cool. I like singing at church, and, church is not one of the places where you can you could be charismatic, but you're not there to entertain people. You're there to, like lead them or whatever. Yeah. So, we did our first concert together, and it was the snare drum broke, I think, on the first song or something. But after that, man, I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is where I feel like I'm like doing what I'm supposed to do, So, fast forward, here we are, So it's been kind of exciting,
For sure. So I guess this last question, you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but are there any plans for new music or touring that are, coming around?
Yeah, man. So I've been working on a new EP, and I think that the first song is supposed to come out like, what is January? Mid-March, I think. And I could be wrong. Like, whoever, catches this is listening to it, don't kill me later if I'm wrong, because my wife will tell you this, I'm not good with dates. So like, I think it's mid-March, and that stuff kind of sometimes changes around, something like that. But yeah, the next couple of months, I've been teasing some of it on, the famed TikTok and, and Instagram and that stuff. I have a really fun song that's probably been one of my favorite kind of like the more, I don't know, modern day country. Cause I'm kind of like all over the place, you know, man. I kind of
Yeah.
like do the, I'll have the, front seat, and then you'll hear like sort of like a little bit of a rock song and some of the stuff. But I have a new song called School for It. That it's been really, really fun. It's one of those ones that I heard it and I was like, man, I think this is going to be like, because sometimes when I go in the studio, it's like I feel good about a song, but I don't know yet, until I hear myself on it. And this one, I was kind of like, man, I think I'm going to really, really like this one. And I'm excited about it. And then we also, I won't say what it is yet, but we also, we did an old a cover song that is going to be on the EP too, that we've been getting some really good feedback about. It's another kind of like, it's almost like another bit of front seat, because it was like I did the song because like I love the song, and I've always loved the song, and we've been getting some really good feedback about it. Like some people are like, man, this is really, really good. You might want to think about this being your single. I'm like, another ballad. I'm like, oh, but I don't care. It's like, you got to listen to the people, man. And that's what's so great about social media. So now you can put stuff out there and kind of see what people are thinking already before you.
There's so
like,
many
it's almost like it's like they picked the song for you. It's like, you're just like, look, like, there's 100,000 views on that one. Okay, we'll put the,
that's awesome.
We'll use that one,
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and hanging out and talking with me. It was really cool to get to talk to you. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, man. This is what it's all about, man.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend and, enjoy the last couple weeks of duck hunting.
That's right, man.
Get out there as much as you can.
I'm trying, man. 30 minutes ago, I had face paint all over me. That's why my face is so red. I'm in there like scrubbing, trying to get it off.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Brock. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, you too.